In the heart of Maui, a wildfire rages, consuming everything in its path, a fiery monster, relentless and unyielding. These recent wildfires in Maui are not just destructive forces of nature, but a stark warning sign of the financial risks that climate change poses to the utility sector. Suspected sparks from local utility power lines are believed to be the culprits behind these fiery disasters. The potential damages? Billions with a capital B. And for the utilities, the specter of bankruptcy looms large. This isn't an isolated incident. We've seen similar scenes play out with other utilities like Pacific Gas and Electric in California and Xcel Energy in Colorado. Their infrastructure, too, has been implicated in sparking wildfires, leading to financial devastation. It's a pattern that's hard to ignore. With wildfires becoming more frequent and more intense due to climate change, the risks for electric utility companies are skyrocketing. Once considered a safe bet, the utility sector is now a hotbed of uncertainty and risk. It's a shift that's shaking up the industry and turning traditional assumptions about risk and return on their head. But it's not just the utilities that are at risk. The ripple effects of these financial shocks can be felt throughout the economy. Think about it, the utility sector has a significant market cap and it's included in many pensions and retirement accounts. The growing risk for utilities is a growing risk for everyone. This is a wake-up call. Climate change isn't just an environmental issue, it's a financial issue, a business issue, a societal issue. It's a problem that demands our attention and our action. As the smoke clears, the devastation is apparent. But the ashes tell a story not just of a wildfire but of an industry under siege. The utility sector, once a safe haven for investors, now finds itself in the crosshairs of climate change. Wildfires, fueled by changing weather patterns, are becoming a significant threat to these companies, particularly those operating in wildfire-prone areas. But it's not just the physical damage that's causing concern, the financial implications are far-reaching and potentially devastating. Companies are now coming clean, disclosing the risks they face and the potential inadequacy of their insurance coverage. It's a bitter pill to swallow considering the significant market capitalization of the utility sector and its inclusion in many pensions and retirement accounts. Take the recent wildfires in Maui, Hawaii, for instance. There, the local utilities' power lines are suspected of causing the fire, potentially leading to billions of dollars in damages and bankruptcy proceedings. This isn't an isolated incident either. Across the board, utilities like Pacific Gas and Electric in California and Xcel Energy in Colorado have faced similar financial devastation due to wildfires caused by their infrastructure. But why should you care? Well, these companies aren't just providers of essential services, they also represent a substantial portion of the investment portfolios of countless individuals and institutions. When they're hit, the ripple effects are felt far and wide. The situation is forcing investors to rethink their strategies, to reassess their assumptions about risk and return. But it's not just a challenge for investors, it's a wake-up call for businesses across all sectors. The message is clear. Address climate risks proactively, or face potentially greater costs in the future. The alarm bells are ringing, echoing a stark warning to investors and businesses alike. But all is not lost. There is a way forward, a beacon of hope in the midst of the smoke. The challenges we face are great, but so too is our capacity for innovation and adaptation. Investors, traditionally the backbone of any industry, must reassess their assumptions about risk and return in the face of climate change. The conventional wisdom of the past no longer applies. The utility sector is a prime example of an industry grappling with the tangible, destructive power of our changing climate. But it's not just about the utility sector. Businesses in all sectors must proactively address climate risks to avoid potentially greater costs in the future. It's about recognizing the reality of our world, understanding the challenges, and taking definitive, proactive steps towards sustainability and resilience. Consider the role of initiatives like the Institutional Investors Group on climate change. This group is leading the charge, challenging companies to identify and respond to climate-related events. They've published a set of expectations for all companies on building resilience to physical climate change risks. It's a call to arms, a roadmap to a more sustainable and resilient future. Just think about it. If every company, from utilities to food groups, from watchmakers to energy firms, were to take these steps towards resilience, we could mitigate the impacts of climate change. We could ensure the long-term viability of these companies and, by extension, the global economy. This isn't about fear-mongering, it's about being realistic and forward-thinking. It's about understanding that the cost of inaction far outweighs the cost of action. It's about protecting our investments, our industries, and our planet for future generations. The time for action is now. We must rise from the ashes, stronger and more resilient. We've seen what happens when we ignore the risks. Now let's see what happens when we face them head-on. Let's build a world where our industries are as resilient as the people who run them. Because in the end, our resilience is our greatest asset. As we stand on this precipice, we must ask ourselves, what role do we play in this unfolding narrative? Climate change isn't a distant concept separate from our daily lives. It's a reality that's impacting the very fabric of our society, including our financial structures. The turbulence in the utility sector serves as a stark reminder of how the warming globe can affect our investments. It's not just about the utility companies, but about the ripple effect that touches every corner of our economy and indeed our lives. But it's not all doom and gloom. We have the power to change this narrative. As investors, we can demand more from the companies we invest in. We can ask for transparency, for resilience, and for a commitment to sustainable practices. As individuals, we can make choices that reduce our carbon footprint, that support renewable energy, that champion a sustainable economy. The future of our planet, our investments, and our lives hang in the balance. The question is, what will you do about it?